Hey everybody, welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got a DC Multiverse figure review coming your way. This time around we're going to be taking a look at that DC Multiverse Azrael Batman armor. And this is Azrael as we saw him in Batman Nightfall. So as we always do, let's go ahead and take a look at that packaging. And we'll bring it in and look right there at the top. You've got 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, gold label, big clear opening there. And then you come down DC Multiverse. On the side, you have Azrael Batman armor and that logo. And on the back, you have Azrael Batman armor, Batman Nightfall, the Crusade. Nice artwork back there. And then, oh, so subtly, you have some more logos and stuff. And over here, Azrael Batman armor, Batman Nightfall. Down low, you have all that good stuff right there. Alright, so that is it for the box. Let's go ahead and see what came inside that packaging. Behold, laid out here before you is everything that came inside that box. It's not much, but that's okay. He's a pretty cool figure. But let's go ahead and start over here on the right. And he does come with an essential piece of equipment. This is the stand. You are going to need this. He is a bit of a pain to pose, I'm not going to lie. He does have small feet. He does have a lot going on up here, so he is top heavy. You're definitely going to want to take advantage of this. So it's just a matte black, has that DC logo on it, and then of course it has that peg where you can stick in the bottom of the heel. And yeah, nothing but ejector pin marks on this side. So there you go. Alright, and then the only other thing that he comes with is his card. This is pretty cool. I do enjoy this. And it also gives you a nice background on the character. So there's the artwork on the front. And then on the back, I'll try to hold this still, so if you want to pause it and read it, you sure can. So it's an interesting history there of Jean-Paul Valley and how he takes over for Batman for a little while with some sweet bulletproof Azrael armor. So there you go. That is it for everything that came inside the box, except for Azrael himself, or Azrael Batman armor himself. So no sense to going into a separate segment. Let's go ahead and bring him in now and take a look at him. And we'll start with that head. And it's a very angry head. I think it looks pretty good though. Nice sculpt work there, and then you've got those beady red eyes, and then little bat ears. Done very well. I do like the fact that the entire face is covered up here. I think this is a good look. And then of course this is that classic armor that we saw from the Nightfall series. So I think they've done a pretty good job here of capturing that in this figure. So you've got those nice tips on the cape, and then that V coming down, and you've got the gold right there. And coming on down to the chest area, looks pretty good. Like what they've done here. Let's go ahead and get those arms out of the way. And then come on down. All looks good. Got the thigh belt there for all of his utility stuff. I like this texturing on the legs, the crotch, and then down here on the lower legs. Works really nice. And come around to the side. Try to keep that cape out of the way. You do have these, whatever you want to call them. Those look really good. I do like them very much. Maybe his calf gauntlet things. I don't know. Whatever the name is, let me know if you feel like it. And coming up the side, all looks good. Up underneath. And then coming over here to the arms. These are kind of the highlight for me. So you've got that nice gold up there in the shoulder. And then coming down here, and then you've got these sweet gauntlets where he keeps all of his gadgetry. So somewhere in there, well, I mean not on the toy, but you know, with imaginative play, somewhere in there he's got his grappling hooks. So looks pretty good. I like that gold and that blue. Looks good all the way around. Then you've got those big, scary claw hands. Do some damage there for sure. And then coming around to the back, if I can get him to stand without his thing. There you go. So it looks really cool from the back, other than that awkward arm. There you go. Looks really cool from the back, and I like what they've done here with the cape to make it look all flowy. So this is a soft, pliable plastic, so you can move it around a little bit, but it's not going to stay anywhere. It's just going to go back to that home position. So yeah, there you go. I think he looks really good. Now as far as articulation, it is the typical McFarlane 22 points of articulation, but there are a few eccentricities here that we can talk about, but we'll start up here with the head. So you get a little bit of down, you get a little bit of up, you get a little bit of the side to side. So what did you say to me? What did you say? Did you say something to me? I don't know. I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's Robert De Niro. I don't know what's going on. Forgive me. And then you can go around with that head. And then coming down here to the shoulders. Now, a lot of the shoulder is kind of, this cape gets in the way here. But you do have that up and down right there. And then you do have that butterfly movement as well. Now, it's particularly loose on this copy, so that's kind of annoying. But you do have that range of motion if you want to take advantage of it. And then, of course, you have that main shoulder where you can come up that high. And then you can, minding the cape, go all the way around. And then you have bicep rotation right up here. And then you do have double jointed elbows. They're not the easiest thing to work with, but you do have them. So you can get a nice deep elbow bend there. And then coming down here to those hands, this is probably the single most annoying part for me, just simply because of the shape of the gauntlet. So you've got this little cutout on this side, you've got this little cutout on this side, and then you've got this little piece that sticks out right there, right where you want to put his hand. Anyway, so you have the wrist rotation, and then you also have that additional joint in here, which allows you to flip the hand in and flip the hand out, so you can get those in almost any position you want, as long as you don't want it right there where that piece of gauntlet is. And coming down here to the body, you do have that rotation right there in the abdomen, and then of course that gives you that ab crunch and then a little bit of a back stretch as well, so you can take full advantage of that. Coming down here to the legs, you're going to get almost a full split, not quite, but plenty of room there. And then you can kick forward. Now as you kick forward, that leg comes out, typical McFarlane fashion, but you can kick forward that far and you can kick backward that far, so a decent range of movement there. And then you have thigh rotation. It's not a lot, but you do have it, so out that far, in that far, so take full advantage. And then down here at those knees, double jointed knees, so nice deep knee bend. That's actually kind of a sweet pose right there, just whoosh, one of those. And coming down here to the feet, similar situation as to with those hands. You have the ability to rotate, so you can rotate at the upper area, you can rotate at the lower area, so just depending on where you can grab this guy and make that sweet rotational magic happen. And then you can take the feet down that far, take the feet up that far, and then you do have that toe bend. So that's not painful at all. I'm sure that's totally natural. Everybody's foot does that, doesn't it? Oh yeah. All right, so let's see if I can get him to pose. Come on, what's your dance move today, sir? Oh, I think we got it. Okay. All right, so there you go. That is details and articulation. He doesn't have any accessories to speak of. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we're going to jump right into those comparisons, and we'll take a look, see how he stacks up against some other figures out there. For our first comparison, here you see Azrael next to the Ripley NECA figure. This is Ripley as we saw her from Alien 3. From the Marvel Universe, this is everyone's favorite symbiote anti-hero. This is Venom. Representing the Star Wars Black Series, if you want to talk about armor, let's talk about armor. This is Paz Vizsla. It just wouldn't be one of my reviews if I didn't find a way to bring a Transformer in somehow, some way. So this is Mongo, or at least that's what I call him. This is the big goofy looking Transformers Red RED non-transformable Bumblebee. And for our final and most relevant comparison, this is also a fellow McFarlane Toys figure from the DC Multiverse. This is the silver Azrael Batman armor figure. So you can see those two guys together, and I think they look pretty darn cool standing side by side. Alright, that's going to do it for the comparisons. Let's go ahead and get into those final thoughts. So there you have the DC Multiverse McFarlane's Toys Azrael Batman armor figure from Nightfall. And I think overall this is a really cool figure. He does have a very, very nice shelf presence. He's got a few eccentricities with that articulation, but it's not the worst that I've seen in a figure. You're just going to have to use that base to get him into those poses for sure. But let's go ahead and dive into it just a little bit here, and we'll talk about the overall aesthetic. This is definitely his strength. He just looks cool from every angle. I love what they've done here in capturing this Azrael Batman armor from the comics and transferring it over to an action figure. I think they've done a really admirable job here. I really enjoy the way he looks. I love that face sculpt and just what they've done with the gauntlets in particular. Just so much imaginative play there. I think the aesthetics are done very well. Moving on to the articulation. This is where, although he's articulated, he has those McFarlane 22 moving parts. He's just got some stuff in the way, particularly with his hands, with those gauntlets. As much as I love those gauntlets, they have that little bit of geometry that just sticks out right up here. That makes it a little difficult to pose those hands. And then also, he's just simply top heavy. So you're going to have some limitations. If you don't use the base and you try to just use those tiny feet, you're going to be limited in what you can do. He's got the articulation for the most part, but he doesn't have enough range of motion there to really find a good balance point without that, using that base. So the articulation is on par with what you would see with every other McFarlane figure. I just get a little annoyed with the interferences there and that top heaviness, if you will. As far as accessories go, he doesn't have any. You know, he comes with the base and he comes with the card. He doesn't really need any accessories, but it would have been cool if they could have thrown a sword in, or they, you know, maybe a grappling hook, something to give us a little bit more play there. But he's pretty basic when it comes to that, so not really much to say as far as accessories. Overall quality on this figure is good. I don't have any issues with the guy. I think his sculpt work looks good. Paint looks good. All the joints are nice and tight except for those butterfly joints. Those are loose. I don't know if they're loose by design or if they're loose because of a quality issue. So I'm a little bit on the fence about that, but I would have liked to have seen those a little bit more tight. They don't hinder what you can do with the figure, so it's not like his arms are going to flop all over the place or fall down on you. They're just a little looser than what I would have liked. And then coming to our last bullet here, overall value. I think the value's here for this figure. We found this guy in the wild at a Walmart for $22 US. I don't think that's a bad price to pay for this figure. I think you get a lot of fun out of this guy, and you get a wonderful shelf presence out of him. So I do think that the value is there if you can find him. So I would say overall, I think this is a figure worth picking up if you are a McFarlane Toys fan, a DC Multiverse fan, just a fan of that Batman Nightfall mythology in general. I think he would just be fun to put on your shelf, fun to put by your PC, fun to just play with, really. So I think he's a figure worth picking up. So with that, that's going to wrap up the review. I hope you guys got some good information out of this. I hope you found some entertainment, and if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this figure, about Batman, Transformers, life in general. We love hearing back from you guys. So with that, that's going to wrap it up. Until we see you guys in the next review, take care.